Hey everyone, joining you from sunny California here. So I just want to get on and just talk about just some things that I've realized over the course of this past year, more than the year, but I wanted to do this video actually on Christmas Eve because I'm pretty darn sure it was Christmas Eve of the previous year, so a full year beforehand to the day that I just had massive epiphanies. I had some things happen to me before that, but on that particular day I was thinking, well, you know, it's Christmas, so thinking about the birth of Jesus and the whole story and then the life of Jesus and everything he went through. And it just dawned on me, everything just hit me like a ton of bricks, and it was like just wave upon wave upon wave of realizing that every single one of us is living his life, that we all just repeat the same life. Let's say we repeat the same story. It's hard to recognize because we're all on different levels. We all have different details. We all have different characters that may play out the story. But the essence of the story is always going to be the same. The idea of creation. Creation can be a human baby. Of course it can. It can be the birth of Jesus Christ. But really, what is that? It's the embodiment of spirit. So with that being said, the embodiment of spirit is really just anything that is like 3D tangible. So any thought that you had of creating anything that you would create in the world, I don't care if it's a sweater you're about to knit or a movie you're about to make or a cake you're about to bake, you had to think of it first, didn't you? You had to come up with the idea, you had to have the intention, you had to have the imagination of how it would turn out in the end. And from there it takes off. It starts with that. So creation is just, your baby can be an actual human baby, of course, but it can be, people call their work projects their babies. That, whatever's a passionate project for you, that's your creation, and that's your so-called baby, and that's your manifestation. So I just remember I was alone once again on Christmas Eve, 2018 also, but just thinking about it all, and I just remember my jaw just dropping, and I just kept saying, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, about 20 times in a row, thinking, wow, that part of the story parallels to things that I've gone through and people go through. That part of the story, that part of the story, that part of the story. The being shunned and having to find your own little place to stay and nobody is understanding what's happening, but then others do, and they come to you and they come bearing gifts, and then you have this immaculate conception, really, because God, the universe, spirit, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same thing, had to be involved to bring that down, to bring your imagination, your thought processes, your ideas into fruition. So it's a co-creation is what happens, is what I'm trying to say. So it brings me to another point. You are the creator. That's the point. So there's only so much that spirit can do because spirit doesn't have a body, you do. So without the action steps, well, what's going to happen, right? So it's up to you to come up with the idea and the inspiration, and then the ethers, the above, will say, okay, it just says yes, whatever you want, whether it's conscious or subconscious. And by God, wouldn't you want it to be conscious so that you're creating a life that you actually want and not one that's just sort of determined for you? But, it will provide the necessities, the tools, the means to create what you want. So the idea is to focus your intentions, your attention on the things you actually want to bring into your life, not the things that you don't. And why would you want, or how could things that you don't want to come into your life, how would they even get there? Well, because you're not being conscious about it. You're not realizing that you're manifesting all the time, constantly. Every moment of every day of your life is a manifestation. We're all doing it. But once again, wouldn't you want to do it consciously and focus on what you really want out of life? So that's the key. Knowing that you have that power. That is your power. Knowing that I don't know how deeply people get this or understand this, or maybe everyone does and it's not a big deal, but it's not just a saying, it's not like just a reference, it's literal. The whole idea of Jesus Christ and and others that have become so enlightened to this point, is understanding. It's understanding that we literally have the powers that he had. He was no better, he was no less. We are no better, we are no less. We all have the exact same abilities, the exact same powers and gifts to do whatever we want with our lives. So let it be. You know, the cycles are going to happen anyway. You're going to go through your creations, you're going to go through your death processes. Death just meaning that you're ending a cycle that you can never ever go back to. So something just as easy to explain as being a high school student. You know, when you go through those 4 years of high school and you finally get that high school diploma, when you receive that in your hand and it's graduation day, from that point forward, you can no longer say that you're a high school student. So there is a death to that cycle of your life. From that point forward, it's up to you. That's the beauty of that. So anytime something closes, you have a brand new opportunity at the exact same moment, instantaneously, something new births, begins. So you have such a plethora of options of going to university, of moving out on your own into your own apartment and getting your own job, or staying at home, or staying in school for another, or, you know, I'm sorry, let's not say you're staying in school, in high school for another few years, but, you know, continuing your education and being still a student, but not a high school student. That portion of your life it's so-called dead. So there are parallels with everything. There's symbolism with everything. Anything and everything, the smallest to the biggest to the hugest to the in between and the mediocre in the middle. Everything, everyone, all of it, we're all living the same story. It's all the same metaphors, it's all the same symbolism. A physical death represents the same thing as a figurative death in your life. So I don't know what got into me to share all that. It's just the Christmas season and understanding that we are all the embodiment of God, by the way. So just realize that every single other being on this planet is a reflection of you. You are them, they are you. This is why you can't judge others, because you've been them. There's not really a past, present, future. It's everything's the same time, but we have all been each other. It's sort of like a like a multiple personality idea. I don't want to say disorder, but idea that we're all facets of one another. We're all the same, just different aspects. So the things that you love about another, those are things that you love about yourself. Things that you dislike or judge or hate about another, those are things that you dislike or judge or hate about yourself. The whole rising from the ashes, the whole being the underdog, the whole like taking burdens literally on your back or figuratively speaking, people shunning you, people not understanding, you just standing your own ground and holding your own truth and not letting it take you down and always giving yourself a rebirth process into a new cycle. These are all parallels that shouldn't be ignored. It's actually extremely magical to realize that you have that kind of power. That is the power that you have. You have the power. You are the power. We all are. We just have our own realities that we're all creating for ourselves, but you mesh with the vibes of what you need at the time. So I guess my point here is, let's try to vibe, let's try to go for what is the healthiest and happiest and the best, for the highest good for all of us. Yourself and everyone that you're connected with, everyone else, every being on the planet, and the planet itself, by the way. So I think, you know, that's the goal, isn't it? Okay, that's it. I'll see you soon on the next video. Take care. Bye, guys.